name's Sean Baker Carter. I produce television. I right now own a company called Milkman. I've been in the movie biz for 25 years, mostly unscripted. I am partnered up with another company called Terminal B, who just made a show that I'm betting you all really loved. My job is not, I don't think, like other jobs. All day I am creating, like that's what I do. I come up with ideas for television shows. I figure out how an idea can fit on a TV, so to speak, and develop a format, research stuff, and then pitch it, sell it, make it. But it can look like anything. There's lots of writing, there's lots of reading, there's a ton of talking to people. I went to film school right out of high school. It didn't work out great, which was good for me, good for them. It wasn't a mutually beneficial situation. And then I bounced around for a while and just was working and, finding my way in the world. And then finally I went back to school, I went to BC. And then when I was finishing up at BC with just a broad communications degree, which was awesome, BC was amazing, I was thinking about what to do next. I went to BU grad school and I met this dude, Dave Metzler, at grad school, day one at BU, like orientation day.
My name is Dave Metzler. I always wanted to work in film and television ever since I was a little kid. And when it came time to go to college, I applied to a whole bunch of film programs and ended up going to Ithaca College in upstate New York for film production, and then ended up not paying attention to my classes at all. And so had to go to graduate school for film production and screenwriting at Boston University, which is where I met your dad.
It was definitely one of those situations where there's, a couple hundred people, the entire first year communications grad students. So all the film department, all the TV department. Back then there was a radio department as well.
And I walked into this auditorium and I didn't know anybody, obviously.
You know what you do. When you show up to a new thing, there's a big crowd, you like, at least I do, you sort of flesh it out. You're like, no, that one's not for me. I don't think so.
There's a whole bunch of very, very serious looking people, except for your dad, who I spotted and said,
oh no, that cat.
I want to know that guy. And we hit it off and we started talking.
And I was like, I live up the street in Brighton. Maybe we just go hang out for a couple of hours.
We got a 6-pack of beer and went back to his house and hung out that afternoon on the porch.
It was over. Dave Metzler and I were in for life. And it was like, you just knew it.
Your dad, from the day I met him at BU, was my best friend.
So film school is an interesting thing, right? And the truth of the matter is, if you want to make films, if you want to get into TV, you don't need to go to film school. You really don't. Film school is only as valuable as you make it. And it was great for me because I needed a boot camp, and if you can use it as a boot camp, amazing. But it's the stuff you invent when you're there. And after our first year, we're getting towards the end of our first year, and Davey was like,
what if we went to Scotland for the summer
and make a documentary? And I was like, okay, I'm in. He hadn't even asked me. He didn't ask me to do that with him. I was just like, yeah, I'm going with you. So we were like, we're going to go to Scotland. We're going to make a documentary about storytelling, the origins of storytelling.
Really, I wanted to go to Scotland, and then making a documentary seemed like a thing we could get school credit for.
We just invented that, and talked the college into giving us credit to do that and go spend 3 months on a bicycle. Did I mention the bicycle? Because we're going to go and make this documentary in Scotland. And I was like, oh, this is great, Dave. We're going to do it, and we're going to interview all these storytellers. Oh, we're going to go on bike. We'll bring our bicycles. We'll just ride our bikes around Scotland. I was like, great idea.
Look, there's two things to take away from that. One is that you can only do something like that when you're young. So don't miss out on that kind of thing, because that was super incredible.
There's nothing like it.
And once you have real responsibilities in life, you don't get the chance to do stuff like that. And two, you literally can just make something up and bring it into existence. Like that was not a thing anybody said, hey guys, if you go to Scotland, you can, get some school credit and make a documentary. Like we just made it up and we did it.
My first job, real job in the movie biz was a movie called The Gentleman from Boston, which if you talked to Dave at all about The Gentleman from Boston, I'm sure he told you two things. Number one, this is
Maybe the worst movie ever made in the history of film.
the worst movie ever made. For real. It is horrible. And it's horrible for so many reasons.
It was a ripoff of any political thriller you've ever seen, except horribly, horribly bad.
I think Dave and I probably had a very different experience on the movie as well.
It was super easy. Like you would show up at like 8 in the morning and you were done by like 6 at night, which is the shortest day on a movie set of all time. And it was short because nobody knew what they were doing.
It was not easy for me. It was hard for me because I wound up in the locations department. So like I was, it was an independent film. So you did like hustling stuff.
And it was the most fun I've ever had in my life, aside from riding my bike around Scotland. Your dad met your mom on that movie.
One of the reasons I wanted to get into movies was it's probably the greatest place in the world to meet girls. So I'm like, I'm going to get in the movies and I'm going to meet all these girls. It's going to be amazing. And the first movie I'm on, I meet this woman. I'm like, oh, I love that lady. And now I'm done. That's it.
I mean, we mostly just had a really good time. So we did that movie.
I'm actually having a pretty good career as a location guy. Like I'm getting a lot of location jobs, which this is an important thing about this biz. Just like do everything, and just where people keep asking you to come, do it, right? Like I thought I was going to be a director.
Everybody wants to be a director. I still want to be a director. If somebody said, here's a script and we'll let you direct it, I would quit my job and go direct that movie, even if it was terrible.
But I would just, for whatever reason, my energy and my skill set really translated to locations because I can talk to anybody. Dave and I were working for a film production company in town called Scout, which was a pretty successful movie company, and they gave us a lot of opportunities. And Dave and I really just started hanging out there.
One day I kind of showed up at their office and basically declared myself the head of development and told them I didn't need to be paid. I just needed a desk and a phone. I started just showing up there as if it were my job. Your dad started showing up there as if it was his job.
Did whatever they needed done, like did research. At a certain point, we started talking about unscripted television. And the dude who owned this company listened to us, and he gave Dave and I a shot to pitch unscripted television, which didn't really exist. I mean, Survivor hadn't even happened yet. Shortly after that, he was like, I got a great idea. We could take, one straight guy and 5 gay guys. We'll like clean them up, like you guys. You're a mess.
He had the title for a new show called Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. And we all developed that show, and that became a hit.
That launched our unscripted career. Like we didn't even know that was a thing that people did. And honestly, that wasn't a thing that people did. People did not develop reality and unscripted television and pitch it. It was barely an industry at that point. And then we sold Queer Eye. Queer Eye went to New York, where it was being produced out of New York. And I didn't want to go to New York. I was recently married. We were starting to have babies. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
He needed to stay and I needed to go. And that was a hard moment. That was hard to leave that, because I didn't really know how to be creative without your dad.
In that same exact moment, they sold another show called Knock First, which was a makeover show for like teenagers who got their first like big boy or big girl room, right? And we would go in and design that room. It was a wonderful show. So that was going to be done in Boston. So they're like, okay, stay here, write the format for that, work on that. It's like, great. So I did that. And then fairly quickly it became apparent that this developing and selling unscripted TV was actually going to work. So at a certain point, Scout was like, we need to develop TV. And that's what I did. They created a development department, and I developed unscripted TV, and that was the rest of my career because it worked. So my point is, I'm just one guy, and this is how I did it. And I did not take a straight line, because there is no straight line. You can go to film school, you can not go to film school. But very simply, if you want to make movies, the only way to make movies is to make movies.
Some kids get really frustrated because they want a real definitive answer, like, and I'm sure I did at that age too. Like, how do you become a director, or how do you become a producer, or whatever? And my answer is usually, well, go find some people you really like, make some stuff with them, create a community, and eventually somebody's going to get a job.
If you want to tell stories visually, film or television or any other medium, the only way to do it is to do it. And there are a million ways to do it. And you really can invent your own way and your own path. I'm telling you that is absolutely true. That is what I did. That is what Dave Messler did. That is what virtually everybody successful in the biz that I know did. But plain and simple, you just figure it out, freaking make it up, and kick indoors. And it can be done.